That part, hey. That part.
What's going on, you guys? Vanity here, and welcome back to a brand new video. So just recently Valve released a new beta update, and hopefully it'll be in the game soon, and that is the new Dust 2 map remake. Now along with that, I just want to say that the AutoHotkey cheats that I posted last like 2 months ago no longer works, especially on this map. Also, it has been detected, so you guys were right, but this hasn't, and it hasn't been for 2 years now, and there's been a major update, and I just really want to see this. Now, I bought another account, as you can see, and I have been testing this beta update out. I've also been testing around this cheat over here, and I have pretty good results that I want to show you guys. Let's get straight into this cheat, I guess. Alright, so moving on, we are now in the game, and I'm going to be discussing the new Hooktronic cheat. It's free, and it is actually very safe. There has only been one detection out of 3 years, and I think that's pretty good. And that was only 2 years ago. This cheat, this update has been out ever since, I think 2 months ago. And I think that it's really good now. I've just discovered this maybe a month ago, and holy crap, is this good. So let's go ahead and go into visuals first and discuss like what this is doing. So this cheat looks like a premium cheat even though it's free. So let's go over like the different categories. ESP, that's this box thing over here, and the name, distance, money, and the name of the weapon, the health, and this ammo capacity. So let's go ahead and go over this. To conserve space on your FPS, go ahead and change this to like a key where you can bind to. So if I were to bind it to a certain key, hold it down, and so if you want to conserve FPS, go ahead and do that. And so yeah, if you hold down that key, it'll show the ESP settings that you have put it to. I don't have that because honestly my PC is good enough for that, so go ahead and turn that off if your PC is good. For player box, there's 1, 2, 3 options, and there's this one, and the one that I use, which is this one. I think that this really looks good, and it's more distinguishable throughout walls. So I mean, if someone were to cross through mid, you will actually see this much better than these two. So that's why I use that one. Only enemy just means that your ESP settings will only be applied to those enemies over there. Here, they will not be applied to. Next, we will go on to running only. I think that this is a really good addition to the game, or I mean update, but honestly I don't see a use for it, just because like, why not just have it on all the time? So if you were to have this on, like if they were to start running, which they won't be because I bought stop on, then the ESP will be activated. But honestly, I think that it's just better to have it on at all times. Name is self-explanatory. There's their names. Health is the health bar right here, so you could change it to 3 options. There's this one right here, and there's 3. I think health 1 looks better because the other 2 look like different sheets, and oh my lord.
What is happening?
Alright, so weapon is this right here. You could either change that to off or text. It kind of does affect your FPS by maybe 1 or 2, but honestly that's not very much. I've actually tested this. Dropped weapons is an enemy dropped weapon. So if you, as you can see, there's the text right there. That's all it does, and also a green outline around it, but that only works for enemy weapons. Money is this right here. You could also use that on enemies, so if you want to see their eco, you can do that. Let's go on to distance. Distance is this thing right here. It's honestly useless because like I'm not 200 feet away from you. However, it kind of is glitchy at the moment. I think that they should fix that. maybe to centimeters, but this is much more useful, this spray lines.
What do you see?
So we're going to turn that off. Honestly, there's no point of having that on. Ammo is the purple, showing how much ammo they have. A C4 is just a glow around the bomb and the text. Planted C4 is just the same thing, but there'll be a red glow over the bomb. Chickens, turn that off, that's an FPS user. Snap lines are these things right here, and it is really useful if you're sniping down mid and you really want to get that shot and you want to be blatant.
They are not here.
Go to skeleton, that's this thing right here, as you can see. The thing I'm chasing right now, not the chams, this thing right here. Head dot is the plus in the middle right there. Bullet trace is like those things that you see at the pro matches. They're like where they're looking at, as you can see. Like he's looking over here and there's a bullet trace going that way. I think that's pretty useful just to know if someone's actually aiming at you.
They are not here.
Next, let's move on to chams. Alright, so chams is this glassy texture I have on this people. And I think that it really works well. Let's go ahead and go over this. XQZ is just this glow around their hips, arms, and weapon. Honestly, it's just uses your FPS, and you can't really see it in the light areas like maybe nuke. So don't use that at all. It just takes up FPS. Player chams is just the texture you have. I think glass is the best because it takes up the least FPS and it also looks best. I mean, you could change it to maybe I don't know, normal. There's flat, there's gum, and honestly, if you look at tree, it just, if you're playing on a map like Aztec, oh my goodness, you're just gonna have a hard time finding them. So go ahead and have glass on or gold. I think gold looks cool, but it takes up some FPS. So glass is the way to go. Enemy only is self-explanatory, only running the same thing that's in ESP. Hands is basically not working at the moment. Drop to weapons is the same thing. There it is, right there. Weapon, you could either have it on off or normal. For glow, it does override chams. So if you don't have chams on, it will show the glow if you press enable. Hold on, let me do this, and boom. Okay, so it's either you have chams on or glow on. I think I like chams much better just because it shows the whole player view model. But I mean, you could change it if you want. You could bind it to a key to use less FPS if you want. And yeah, so let's move it on to dropped weapons and C4. If you want to have that on, press enable. I already have it on ESP, so I don't need that. Visual misc. Now, if we head on over to CT spawn, hold on, let's just go. I really like the textures of this map, especially on 4K. This is nice. Alright, so going over here and pressing in-game radar, as you can see, all the dots are visual, even from behind the wall. So it's basically a radar hack. If you don't have that on and you're behind the wall, as you can see, it goes to question marks, but if you do, there is your radar hack. DLL lights are these things showing textures around the map. Honestly, you don't need that. It just takes up FPS. View model is basically how far your hands are from your screen. So if you want to have it all the way and have a left hand be, I don't know, detached, then go ahead and do that, but I usually keep it at 72. FOV is self-explanatory, your FOV that you change it to. I like it at 106 because it looks like a cinematic theme, but I also have it around maybe 115 just because I like it there. Spectator list is this thing right here, see who's spectating who. No flash is self-explanatory. If I throw a flashbang, and boom, there it is there. Grenade prediction is that thing that I was showing you earlier.
What do you see?
So if you were to throw it off the wall, it'll go right there. So let me see here. It's really accurate actually, even though it says prediction, but it's actually really accurate. as you can see, it was the same place that it said that it would.
Flashback.
So it would go behind me, right? And there it is. So, yeah. Next, there is disable post processes. As you can see at the top, pay attention, and if I turn it on,
What do you see?
it really turns off that border glow. I don't know what that does, honestly, other than that. But I usually have it on because I like lighter. Because I get scared of the dark. Crosshair type, you could either have this off or on like a static. So if you were to have a no scope, if you had a sniper and you wanted a no scope, it'll show like a crosshair for that. Crosshair style is like what kind of crosshair you have on that. No smoke is basically if you had a smoke, it won't show any smoke, just like no flash works. No visual recoil is this thing right here. You don't go up, you don't go down. It's just consistent. Alright, so after moving on to that, we will go on to AIMBOT. This will be longer. So yeah. Legit bot, you just want to copy the settings I have here. If you want to be the most legit person on earth, this is what you're going to use. Multi-hit box, and you want it at 5.68 or lower. You generally don't want to go over 5 unless you're trying to hack, like, blatantly. FOV, I'd have it around 5.50. I don't know why it was around there. So as you can see, it goes straight to him, and then you can easily shoot. So, like, okay, maybe you're rushing down CT ramp, and you see someone. You easily lock on. It looks legit. Like, if you're silver, you might want to tone that down, or gold nova. But if you're MG, you should have this on, and it just looks legit. Unless you do this. If you just move on slowly and move your mouse on him. Nah, dude, don't do that. You're just gonna get overwatched. But other than that, I think that's the best thing to do. For pistols, that's what I just showed you. Yeah, so just keep it on that or on multi-hitbox. I personally like head because on pistol round you get those one taps. Snipers, you could either change it to the head, neck, chest, stomach, multi-hitbox, which is what I have it on just because if I have a scout, I want it either on the head or on the chest because I don't want to be blatant. For ops, you definitely want to have it on stomach. Do not put it on head because if you keep getting op headshots, it's just insane, man. They're gonna think twice about you. For this, copy these settings, copy these settings, copy these settings. I don't need to explain all these because honestly, they don't all work. So after doing that, go to RageBot, and this is where you're gonna see all the blatant action. So I'm gonna go and enable this real quick. Auto fire is basically if I were to move on, watch. And hold on, I have to turn something off, I think. Oh, auto wall. Okay. Wait. Okay. Chill. I didn't press anything, so there it is right there. FOV is if you want to have if you want to look legit while you're doing 360 no scopes. This is the kind of thing you want. So if you were to do 360 no scope and hit it, at least in front of you, if the enemy is in front of you and you click, it will shoot him. But if you're at 360, it'll shoot the person behind you, and the person in front of you. So you might not want to do that if you're still trying to be legit.
What do you see?
Silent aim is that thing. Oh, there it is. Aim step is basically like I don't know, honestly, it just helps your aim better. I don't know, aim step doesn't really make a difference in my experience. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off because I'm annoyed by it. Enable key, you can either choose to do that or not. Target, I usually have this on closest to crosshair, head, and high. Friendly fire, do not turn that on unless you want to get banned. No recoil. Auto stop is basically okay. Don't use these three. Do not use these three. You might want to have this on though. Auto wall, just because. Actually, have this one on if you have a revolver equipped because it really helps you. Auto wall, it just means that if you shoot through walls like spin botters do. Put this on 1 so that at least, because if you're on 100, it's not gonna shoot for you at all. For resolver, you always want to have this on delta. or basic, it doesn't matter. Anti-aim, keep this enabled, and do not change anything here, because I do not know what they are, unless you want to look at another video. For miscellaneous, you want to have these settings here. For config, you could either change it to Rage, HVH, or Legit. This is my legit config, so if I want to go to Rage, I put another config, and there it is. So it's basically like saves. If you want to play legit, go ahead and press that. You have to customize it by your own. Auto accept, just honestly, I don't know what that is. I haven't played around with this as much, but bunny hop, pretty self-explanatory. Auto strafe, you don't have to press A and D to do. I'm not even pressing anything. If you can hear, my boom armor is right by my computer. I'm not pressing anything but safe bar. Okay. So after auto strafe, there is circle strafe. Don't do that. Honestly, it's pretty glitchy. Let me just go ahead and turn that off because I don't want it bound to anything. Chat spam, you could either have a report text spam, like there it is.
They are not here.
It doesn't look that legit, but actually it kind of does. They changed it. It used to be 11 reports for whatever, and then a fake number. But now I guess it's good. Regular is just promoting their brand or their cheat. Clan tag is either you can either have Hooktronic on, or you can have invisible, like invisible name. Same thing for your name spam. You could have this and like change names to other people. Go here. It can change the names to other people, but since I already changed it to invisible, sorry about that. I should have showed you that, but yeah. So it doesn't work after you change it to something else, but yeah. You could do that to invisible, like I had it on earlier. And press off. Show ranks is basically showing the ranks of everybody. So if they were silver, it would show here, and MG and whatever. Third person is basically that. It shows what you look like. Yes, the channels work on you too.
They are not here.
Go ahead and turn that off unless you want to have fun. Auto defuse, basically if you were to go up to the bomb as a CT, it will automatically defuse. Auto block, honestly I don't know what that is, I forgot. There's so many new things I haven't played around with enough. Fake lag is obviously the same thing. As you can see, it doesn't make a difference in our gameplay. They updated that. It used to make a huge difference, but to them, you are laggy as hell. So let me just go and change this. As you can see, I'm laggy.
They are not here.
But as if I turn off third person, I am no longer laggy. So yeah, it's really good to have that on adaptive. And air stuck, if you were to bind it to something, check this out. You can stay stuck in the air and troll people. Alright, so I guess that's pretty much it. And then there's skins. You always want to press active, and after you change all your skins, they added gloves actually, and I think that's really cool. And they have all these weapons, and just press supply skin, and it will go to MISC and save config, and there it is. You will be all set. So yeah. Alright, so before I go, if you want this cheat, go on over to hooktronic.top. Press this button over here, go to public release, and you want to go over here, just mouse 3, and go ahead and download these two files, load them onto a USB drive, and also be sure to run the injector as administrator. Anyway, it's your boy Vanity, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.